Imagine a weapon with a notable downside that suffers in certain situations. Imagine a weapon that suffers in the situations the other is great in, but is strong in its weaker situations. Now imagine, if you will, a weapon that combines the two, keeping both their strengths, getting rid of the normal weakness. Well, I don't think there's any reason to drag this out further. The S-Blast is an incredible weapon. It has two firing modes, long range normally and close range when you jump, and mastering the combination of the two is how you use this thing to its full potential. The standard long range mode is very effective. It combines well with one of the big upsides of the blasters as weapons. Even if you don't hit them directly, they're still going to take a good amount of damage. And if you do hit them directly, well, they just get deleted from the game. Directs aren't this super deep, hard to master mechanic. Seriously, I never use blasters outside of recording, and even I manage to hit some cool shots fairly often. But the real issue with ranged blasters is getting rushed down, but that's just where the short range mode comes in. Simply jump in the air and you can fire off larger close range blasts to get enemies off you. But that's not the end of the close range mode's power. It's not just a get off me tool. It has the power required to be played aggressively. Shot RNG is difficult to work with, but with the blast radius it has, it's far from impossible to hit people with it consistently. It's kinda like random crits in TF2 where in melee fights you sometimes just randomly one-shot your enemy, but instead of your damage randomly getting tripled, your shot just happens to go in the right direction. The only inconsistency is that sometimes it's randomly better. That is the power of the S-Blast. You can adapt to any situation. If you need to play aggressively, you can get in there. But if you can't get in, you can still get some work done. If someone rushes you down, you can simply jump in the air and defend yourself. If someone is trying to pick you off from a distance, you can get rid of them without having to get close. It still has weak mobility and dead zones, but it's just how adaptable it is that makes it this strong as a main weapon. But then you have the kit. What makes the S-Blast crippled potential. Sprinkler and Reef Slider. I think most people assumed it dead on arrival the second they showed these. Sprinkler is not a very good sub-weapon. Its only real uses include helping farm for your special a little, which doesn't matter because it has Reef Slider, and the two fairly niche uses of painting the ground a little for quick mobility, and maybe being a shield you can use. And if you want to do either of those, just use Burst Bombs, which are much better, or Splash Wall, which is bigger, taking more shots as well as just having more health. And Reef Slider has pretty much been a punching bag since the game's launch. I can perfectly sum up Reef Slider gameplay with this one clip. That wasn't even a shitty sketch. That was from an actual match. The only real use for it I can think of is those fights. You know, those fights. The ones where no one's actually hitting each other and is just flopping around like two ragdolls. In those very niche fights, you can maybe end it faster. Hooray! But despite how much they can cripple you, it's a good thing that it got this kit. Because the main weapon is so good, I genuinely don't think we'd be doing okay if it had a good kit. People feared the Wiper Deco. People feared the Paintbrush. Hell, some even feared the Big Swig. But as it stands, we right now have a fun as hell blaster that is fully capable of adapting to its situation, essentially getting rid of its biggest weakness. So count your blessings while you can, because whenever this thing goes for round 2 on its kit, well, things are gonna get interesting to say the least.